You know the drill. I'm doing something with the car, and then the car pulls up and cue looks like this. Pierce Brosnan combines strength, confidence, and charisma as the unbreakable James Bond, a role that millions of people know and love. His narrative, though, is arguably more tragic than any character he has ever portrayed, and it lurks beyond the polished appearance. While he was at the peak of his profession, Brosnan had to face some sad personal news that broke his heart and brought tears to his eyes. Unexpectedly, the diagnosis would alter his family's trajectory and bring unanticipated challenges into his own life. What is the devastating prognosis for his wife? Why did she acquire this? Their family was devastated by this revelation, and you will be as well. The Road to James Bond as traveled by Pierce Brosnan. A narrative of perseverance, skill, and determination, Pierce Brosnan rose from obscurity in a tiny Irish hamlet to become a global superstar. It was Brosnan's humble upbringing in Drogheda, County Law, Ireland, where he was born in 1953, that gave him the determination to achieve great things. A strong determination to forge his own path, rather than affluence or luxury, defined his formative years. His decision to devote himself to acting in the 1970s marked the beginning of that trajectory. The Drama Centre London, which he attended from 1975 to 1975, is a prestigious school that has produced numerous famous actors and actresses. After that, he got a job as an assistant stage manager, where he learned the ropes before moving into the spotlight. After making his stage debut in Wait Until Dark, he went on to star in Tennessee Williams's The Red Devil Battery Sign. In this play, Brosnan's inherent charisma and talent were noticed by Williams, who personally lauded the young actor, inspiring him to pursue a career in the arts. It was in the late 70s and early 80s that Brosnan first made the leap from stage to screen. He got his start in the business with two short but notable appearances in early films, The Long Good Friday and The Mirror Cracked. Concurrently, he started to make a name for himself on television, making appearances in hits like Murphy's Stroke, Play for Today, and The Professionals. No matter how big or little the job, he gained valuable experience and exposure that would later help him become more versatile. Even if there weren't many big leaps in those early years, Brosnan's determination to play a variety of roles laid the groundwork for a major breakthrough later on. Brosnan broke through in 1982 with his starring role in the NBC series Remington Steele. The show became an American phenomenon and Brosnan a household name, garnering him acclaim on a global scale. Throughout its run from 1985 to 1987, he became a star who could move fluidly between film and television thanks to his performance as the charming and dapper investigator. Remington Steele's success not only brought him new fans, but it also started rumors that he may be James Bond #2. Speculation over his future as 007 swiftly arose, as his charismatic and refined on-screen persona appeared tailor-made for the part. When it was formally revealed in 1994 that Brosnan would become the sixth actor to play James Bond, that opportunity finally arrived. He achieved a sense of atonement and success as he assumed the role of a legendary movie character. Starting with 1995's GoldenEye, Brosnan breathed new life into the Bond franchise, updating the character while retaining the finesse of previous depictions. This picture did wonders for the Bond series, bringing it back to life and making it relevant again in popular culture. He continued his Bond film career with 3 more flicks. From 1997 to 1999, there was Tomorrow Never Dies, and from 2002 to 1999, there was The World Is Not Enough. Throughout these 4 films, Brosnan established himself as a prominent figure in the franchise. In a performance that managed to be both classic and cutting-edge, he embodied the grace of the spy while still bringing an intensity appropriate to the modern action picture genre, meeting the needs of both current and potential fans worldwide. Although James Bond catapulted him to international fame, Brosnan remained resolute in his pursuit of parts outside of the franchise. He wanted to have a hand in making his projects and keeping creative control. Therefore, he co-founded Irish Dreamtime in 1998. The Nephew, a drama he produced and starred in that same year, allowed him to tell a story that was more in line with his roots. After that, in 1999, he starred in a chic adaptation of The Thomas Crown Affair, which gave him a chance to show off his charisma outside of his Bond role. He widened his acting horizons in the early 2000s with features including Laws of Attraction, 2004, The Tailor of Panama, 2005, and The Matador, 2005. He proved he was more than simply a secret agent on television in each of these parts, which allowed him to display his acting range from dramatic and intense to lighter romantic comedies. The years 2007 to 2018 were another evidence of Brosnan's adaptability. His 2007 appearance in the Western Seraphim Falls was a stark departure from his Bond days. as he played a gritty character. Then, in 2008, he wowed moviegoers with his musical numbers in the picture Mamma Mia, based on the acclaimed musical. The film became a worldwide hit despite critics' conflicting reactions to his singing, and his performance revealed a carefree, sensitive side. For die-hard fans, the tale finally came full circle when he returned for the 2018 sequel. The Ghostwriter, 2010, Love Is All You Need, 2012, A Long Way Down, 2014, The November Man, 2016, and The Foreigner, 2017, were among the other important productions that were produced during this time. His reluctance to be typecast was on full display in each performance, demonstrating his versatility and ability to stay on top of shifting film trends without sacrificing his distinctive acting style. From 2021 onward, Brosnan will be seen in a diverse array of projects, proving that he has not slowed down in the field. His 2021 credits alone include False Positive and The Misfits, and his 2022 credits include The King's Daughter. Continued success in 2023 with features like The Outlaws and The Last Rifleman bodes well for 2024 and 2025 with titles like Mobland, Black Bag, and The Unholy Trinity. This unbroken string of parts demonstrates that Brosnan's screen presence is robust and current, even after all these years after his debut. His knack for discovering fresh and captivating projects showcases his unwavering commitment to his art and his adeptness in maneuvering through the dynamic film industry. Even outside of his cinematic career, Brosnan has received several accolades for his work and the positive impact he has had on society. Recognizing his influence, he was awarded an honorary OBB in 2003. Nevertheless, his Irish citizenship prevented him from receiving the full title. Acknowledgement of his artistic achievements and impact as an Irish cultural personality was bestowed upon him in 2003 by the Dublin Institute of Technology and in 2004 by University College Cork in the form of honorary degrees. The fact that Brosnan became a naturalized U.S. citizen on September 16th of the same year further solidified his status as a truly global figure whose career and life transcended cultural boundaries. Not only were his cinematic credits recognized, but so was his ability to bring international attention to Ireland and its talent. Confusion around Pierce Brosnan's defeat. Beyond the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, Pierce Brosnan is the man he is today, shaped by the ups and downs of his personal life. His early career and family life were greatly influenced by actress Cassandra Harris, whom he married in 1980. Their loving and supportive marriage was abruptly ended in 1991 when Harris passed unexpectedly. 10 years after that devastating breakup, Brosnan fell in love again. In 2001, she married journalist Keely Shaw Smith, and their lives together began anew, full of stability and joy. They had 2 boys, Paris and Dylan, who were raised in relative obscurity but who inherited their father's artistic and creative spirit. A union that embodies not just love but also mutual regard and common goals. Brosnan's marriage to Keely has provided stability and strength in his life. In the face of tragedy and loss, their existence together exemplifies the power of perseverance. Love can come back and thrive in many ways. Although Brosnan became famous all over the world because to his cinematic career, he was an artist whose work went beyond the silver screen. He found solace in painting while his first wife was sick, releasing his pent-up feelings onto canvas. What started out as a private activity is now being pursued by the general population. In order to support organizations that were important to him, he decided to host art exhibitions and give away the money. In addition to being a window into his life's experiences, his paintings became a vehicle for charitable giving, with a focus on causes related to women's health, the environment, and children. Furthermore, Brosnan has been a vocal supporter of environmental causes for quite some time. His words and deeds have consistently demonstrated his dedication to sustainability and conservation. A playground in Kauai was built with a $100,000 donation from him and his family in 2007, a testament to his commitment to helping families and communities. Consistent with his own principles and charitable endeavors, he frequently uses his voice to bring attention to environmental issues, even though he lives in Malibu. Still, not even the most revered public figures are immune to criticism and gaffes, no matter how generous or talented they may be. In 2024, Brosnan's plea of guilty to a violation at Yellowstone National Park made headlines for an unexpected cause. To ensure the safety of park visitors and the fragile ecosystem, he had veered off the trails and entered a restricted thermal area, which is not allowed. He had to pay a $500 fine and give $1,000 to the Yellowstone Forever charity for this infraction. Brosnan reaffirmed his dedication to environmental responsibility, admitted his error, and conveyed profound regret in his public apologies. His long history of activism for environmental causes made the episode, however insignificant, newsworthy. For others, it served as a sobering reminder that even the most dedicated individuals may make mistakes. For others, his swift take-charge attitude demonstrated how genuine his principles are. Even Brosnan's cinematic career has not been immune to criticism. Even though he has been in hits both at the box office and with critics, some of his more recent features have bombed. It, a thriller that came out in 2016, was critically and commercially unsuccessful. The film was heavily criticized for its uneven execution and poor storyline, earning it a 9% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. In spite of all the negative feedback, a few critics did give Brosnan credit for his performance, saying that he made an effort that was noticeable even when the rest of the cast failed to do so. In 2021, the pattern persisted with another underwhelming picture, The Misfits. It received numerous Golden Raspberry Award nominations, which recognized the year's worst films, and a dismal 17% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Once again, the film's narrative and production flaws were too much for Brosnan's star power to overcome, and the picture failed to leave an impression. Such roles served as reminders, for an actor of his caliber, of the difficulties of sustaining a career in an unpredictable field. The unholy trinity was unleashed in the year 2024. It was not as badly received as some of his other works, but it still received average reviews. Despite providing the expected kind of amusement, critics panned the picture, saying it failed to distinguish out due to a lack of innovation and emotional resonance. Although Brosnan and his co-stars delivered respectable performances, the picture failed to make an impression. Even though Brosnan constantly worked across genres and projects in his later career, not all of his selections were well received by viewers and critics. This is supported by these critiques. Celebrities Cassandra Harris and Sydney take the stage to leave a lasting impression. The life and career of Cassandra Harris are a testament to her drive, creativity, and the profound relationships she forged, all of which left an indelible mark on her loved ones and on her own legacy. Sandra Colleen Waits was born in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia on December 15, 1948, yet she spent her formative years away from the limelight of Hollywood. During her formative years in Sydney, she stood out from her peers due to her innate charisma and her increasing fascination with performing. Harris displayed traits that suggested she would have a successful career in acting before she even entered the industry professionally. In 1961, Cassandra Harris, then known as Sandra Gleeson, enrolled in Australia's esteemed National Institute of Dramatic Art, NIDA, at the tender age of 12. This decision, made by such a young girl, set her firmly on the road to a career in acting because it gave her access to a community of other aspiring performers and structured training. During her time at NIDA, which has a long-standing reputation as a top acting school in the area, Harris showcased her dedication to honing her art and her love of performing. She started to establish the foundation for her future profession throughout these critical years. This one was defined by her presence and versatility on stage, screen, and in television. Harris originally gained widespread attention in the mid-1960s, when she gave a number of memorable performances. She made an appearance in the 1964 to 1965 Sydney production of the musical comedy Boing Boing. She got a chance to show off her skills in a live performance with an audience who really valued her charisma, timing, and ability to connect with them. Working on stage, especially as a comedian, can be taxing. Harris was able to refine her skills and gain much-deserved renown in the theater world because to her performance in Boing Boing. These formative performances in front of an audience not only boosted her self-assurance, but also demonstrated her capacity for change, which would be an asset when she explored other mediums in her career. In the late 1970s, Harris's career started to take off on the small screen, launching her to fame all over the world. The science fiction series Space 1999 featured her in an episode called Devil's Planet in 1977. This part was a stepping stone into the wider entertainment world, exposing her to audiences outside of Australia. 2 years down the road, in 1979, she starred in the war drama Enemy at the Door, solidifying her reputation as an actress who could effortlessly switch gears and tackle any genre. Her rising profile on the global stage was laid the groundwork for more significant parts in the years that followed these television appearances. Harris's career took off after her appearances in feature films. With her 1978 supporting role in the biopic The Greek Tycoon, she was able to be a part of a high-profile production while also shedding light on the life of Aristotle Onassis. After that, in 1980, she landed the role of Mrs. Lloyd Palmer in the film Rough Cut. These parts didn't launch her career as a leading lady, but they showed that she could handle herself on set of a big picture and perform with the best of them, establishing one's reputation and gaining expertise in the entertainment industry. Playing Countess Liesl von Schloff in the 1981 James Bond film For Your Eyes Only was arguably the biggest break for Harris's acting career. Although she did not have a prominent role in the film, she was nevertheless cast in one of the most iconic and long-running film series of all time. In addition to adding a film to her resume, this production marked a watershed moment in her personal life. Harris introduced Pierce Brosnan, her husband, to Albert R. Broccoli, the film's producer, when they were filming For Your Eyes Only. This debut was a watershed point in Brosnan's career since it set the stage for his later casting as James Bond. So, Harris was more than just an on-screen Bond. She was an integral part of the Bond canon. In addition to being a connector, she had an impact on the career path of one of the franchise's future stars. The early 1980s saw an even more intimate merging of Harris's professional and private lives. Remington Steele, the smash success that made Pierce Brosnan famous in America, featured her in multiple episodes as a guest star. Her participation in the show highlighted the creative dynamic between Brosnan and herself, and it also mirrored her continued career in television. As a team, they overcame obstacles and took advantage of possibilities in the entertainment industry while juggling the needs of their families with their professional careers. Cassandra and Pierce's son Shaw Brosnan was born on September 13, 1983. Harris began a new chapter in her life with the birth of Sean, embracing parenthood while still pursuing her job. After Dermot Harris passed away in 1986, Pierce adopted his two children, Charlotte and Christopher, from Harris's previous marriage. This allowed Sean's family to expand. Not only did this loving deed bring their family closer together, but it also showed how close Pierce and Cassandra were. One that is based on caring, accountability, and commitment. The incorporation of her children into the Brosnan household provided a loving and stable environment for Harris's children despite the demands of Hollywood, and family life became an integral part of her identity alongside her job. Divorce and marriage are Cassandra's problems. Like her professional life, Cassandra Harris's personal life was full of pivotal moments that altered her trajectory in ways that were known and unknown to others. Her personal life, including her marriages and relationships, brought depth to her story, even if her professional accomplishments were significant on stage, screen, and television. These parts of her story show a strong-willed, resolute, and family-oriented lady who, through thick and thin, faced the challenges of marriage and divorce with grace and dignity. William Firth was the man she wed in 1964, marking her first marriage. Cassandra was still relatively young and had only just started to carve out a path for herself professionally and personally. But it was a short-lived marriage. The couple divorced in 1970 after being together for 6 years. Although Cassandra has chosen to keep the specifics of her marriage and its dissolution under wraps, the reality remains that it was the first time she faced the difficulties of marriage and the necessity of beginning over. The parting must have been a very traumatic experience for someone at the beginning of her journey. She must have shown incredible courage and perseverance to get through it. In 1970, Cassandra wed again, this time to Dermot Harris, the brother of famous actor Richard Harris and a film producer. Through this partnership, she was able to enter the film industry from a different angle, bringing her closer to the field she aspired to work in. She also experienced the joy of parenting through her marriage. Dermot and Cassandra were blessed with the arrival of twins. Both Charlotte and Christopher came into our world in 1972. A new layer to Cassandra's life emerged when she became a mother, allowing her to juggle her career aspirations with the joys and challenges of childrearing. She successfully juggled her acting profession and the care of her young children throughout a significant portion of the 1970s. However, Cassandra's marriage to Dermot Harris soon ran into irreconcilable problems, despite the assurance of stability. They were married for 8 years until divorcing in 1978. Although Cassandra found the separation painful, it did not lessen her attachment to her children. Christopher and Charlotte continued to play significant roles in her life. She put her whole heart into making sure kids were raised in a caring and supportive home in the years after the divorce. The divorce was a watershed moment because it reintroduced her to the difficulties of picking herself up after a major relationship ended. However, Cassandra's life took a different turn just 2 years later, and it would shape her destiny in profoundly intimate ways. She wed actor Pierce Brosnan on December 27, 1980. Cassandra had prior expertise juggling the demands of family life with those of the entertainment industry, and their relationship started while Brosnan was still in the early stages of his career. A union of two individuals wasn't the only thing their marriage symbolized. Because Brosnan became a father figure to Charlotte and Christopher in addition to being Cassandra's husband, it represented a merging of lives. After Dermot Harris passed away in 1986, he would eventually adopt them formally, strengthening their family bond. Cassandra found herself at the heart of a profoundly personal and professionally significant collaboration after her third marriage. Cassandra appeared in multiple episodes of Remington Steele, the TV series that made Brosnan famous, and she and Brosnan shared experiences in the entertainment field while they were together. The arrival of their son Shaw in 1983 further solidified their marriage, growing their family and drawing their personal and professional lives closer together. A strong character and a resolve to strike a balance between love and duty were on display in Cassandra's handling of the challenges of motherhood, marriage, and work. The devastating news of Cassandra Harris's illness and Pierce's sorrow. Pierce Brosnan's grief took various forms. The death of his wife Cassandra Harris was a tragic event in his life that changed him as a father, actor, and man. Just 4 months after Harris passed away, in 1992, Brosnan had a poignant interview with People in which he pondered on her legacy, the influence she had, and the fact that she remained a part of his life long after she had died. In spite of the sadness, his comments reveal a story of strength, love, and appreciation for the time they spent together. Brosnan recounted rejoicing in the kitchen of their Malibu Hills home with his 2 boys, Sean and Christopher, when he received the word that his picture The Lawnmower Man had been a box office triumph. He later contacted his daughter Charlotte by phone so they could both enjoy the experience. Regardless of the joy, he felt compelled to go outside into the garden to the exact area where Harris had sat before to tell her the news. Brosnan confessed that he had a strong urge to communicate with her even though she had died away in December. He whispered, "Well, darling, I know you're up there moving the pieces around." This action demonstrated the profound impact that Harris's presence had on his life. Throughout their 14-year marriage, which ended with her passing away, she never stopped believing in him and encouraging him. Harris was the one who encouraged Brosnan to take chances, seek out better possibilities, and even uproot his family from England and migrate to the United States in 1981, as Brosnan himself confessed. She kept inspiring him even when she was sick in her latter years. She was so supportive that she even suggested he star in Livewire and play the Lawnmower Man. He had high hopes for the initiatives. Brosnan expressed his feelings with candor. "She has made me the man I am, the actor I am, the father I am. She's forever embedded in every fiber of my being. She's there with me every day. I was so blessed to have met someone like that." But even with such treasured memories, the reality of grief was inescapable. Brosnan described how the pain could hit him suddenly, leaving him shouting, "Why to the skies?" as he drove down the freeway, overwhelmed by loss. Yet at other times, he would laugh at the thought of Harris's voice, reminding him not to dwell on sentimentality. He imagined her gently nudging him to stay strong, to buck up and not get lost in sorrow. This balance between anguish and humor showed just how profoundly Harris had shaped his outlook on life. Their love story itself carried a touch of serendipity. Introduced in London in the mid-1970s by a mutual friend, Brosnan was immediately captivated, though Harris later admitted she had no initial interest in him. Over time, however, their bond grew as they discovered common ground in acting, books, and music. They married in 1977, and Harris, already the mother of Charlotte and Christopher from her marriage to Dermot Harris, later had a son, Shaw, with Brosnan in 1984. Their blended family was close, and Brosnan cherished his role as both a stepfather and father. Harris's career also left a mark, most notably her role as Countess Lysol in the 1981 James Bond film For Your Eyes Only. She introduced Brosnan to Bond producer Albert Cubby Broccoli, setting the stage for his eventual role as James Bond years later. Though contract obligations prevented him from stepping into the part immediately, the introduction marked a turning point in his career trajectory. Tragedy struck in 1987 when Harris began experiencing unusual fatigue and swelling. A doctor's visit revealed ovarian cancer, a diagnosis that would transform the family's life. Brosnan recalled, "Life turned around on a dime. The journey ahead was filled with surgeries, chemotherapy, and moments of both despair and determination." Harris, however, faced her illness with remarkable courage, questioning treatments, making her own decisions, and refusing to give in to fear. Brosnan stood by her side, describing himself as the quiet party, but always present to support her. Even in the midst of treatment, Harris never stopped being the heart of the household. Brosnan remembered how their son Sean would play doctor to cheer her up and how, despite her pain, she remained involved in family life, planning, organizing, and nurturing. Their Malibu home, which they bought after one of her treatments, became a place of peace and comfort. Friends recalled how even when Harris was gravely ill, the house remained filled with laughter, children playing, and a sense of wellness that she insisted on preserving. The couple also carried the heavy knowledge that Harris's mother had died of ovarian cancer, suggesting a hereditary link. Brosnan became vocal about encouraging women with a family history of the disease to undergo screenings, calling ovarian cancer a silent killer. Harris's connections with others who had faced similar battles like Gilda Renner and Jill Ireland gave her strength, though their deaths weighed heavily on the Brosnans. Still, Harris's resolve never wavered, and her fight became a symbol of grace and resilience for those around her. As her health declined, Brosnan admitted to regrets. He wished he had asked her if she was afraid, but he avoided the question because he did not want to undermine her courage. Still, there were moments of vulnerability when Harris would simply say, "I need you." And Brosnan knew the depth of her fear and pain. Those words, he admitted, cut like a knife. In her final days, Harris prepared herself and her family for what was to come. About a week before entering the hospital for the last time, she reassured Brosnan, saying, "Please, darling, don't worry." She whispered to him, always an actor. Brosnan was by her side, praying with her, holding her hand, and cherishing her last words. Harris passed away at the age of 39 on December 28, 1991, their 14th wedding anniversary. He interpreted her words as a reflection of who he was both on screen and as a father.